Welcome back to Bros in a Landfill, whatever these conversation episodes are called.
Whatever you believe they're called, that's what they're called.
Audience participation.
Yep. Leave a comment down below what you refer to the show. Every week we'll ask you.
All right, so you just watched the Knuckles trailer for the Paramount show, right?
Yeah. The good old Paramount Plus show that is Knuckles the Echidna.
And I watched this yesterday, so I guess since you just watched it, what's your immediate first impression?
My immediate first reaction is this feels like one of those trailers from those fake trailer YouTube channels that it's like Pirates of the Caribbean 6, and then it's just like footage from like old pirates or like other like things with the characters, and then like just fancily edited. And then you look up like, oh, like is like Pirate 6 coming out, and then it's like, oh, there's this trailer, and it's like it's just bait. It feels like that, but like legit.
The legit version of that. So like, does it feel kind of maybe a bit too derivative, or like you've seen it before, or is there just a vibe that you're getting?
It's just a vibe that I'm getting, and this like. So I guess like the obvious comparison would be like this is like whatever, like the studio doing the Disney Marvel, like the Marvel TV series, like derivative spin-offs, which like were popular for a time. Like I this is like definitely like kind of like their own like take on that. But with those like Marvel show spin-offs, like they were I mean, I'm not saying they're all great or whatever, but like they were such their own thing, like separate from like the movies. Like the Loki show was like its own thing, like separate from like it branched off from the movie, like its own characters, its own identity. Um, like and part of that obviously like they didn't have like the money to bring in like the A-list actors to like come in and cameo or like be like important roles, but it's like I watch, it's like, oh, Sonic's there, oh, Tails, like I don't know like how much they're gonna be in the show, but it like it's just like this idea like we have like this full like Paramount Plus TV show series like that is like Knuckles, but like also like Sonic, some of the other characters are there, and it's like
Yeah, I was gonna say like it does feel very like it is just kind of the next thing that happens in the movie universe. Like it feels very Sonic 2.5,
yeah,
more than like the Knuckles show,
like
which I don't necessarily have
yeah.
a problem with. If anything, I'm like, oh, cool, I get to catch up with these characters in this world like a little bit earlier than I expected to. But yeah, it's not like it doesn't seem to be the most Knucklesy show in the universe. But I guess he is our point of view character, so that's something.
Yeah, and I think the other half of that is like the Sonic movie already, like the Sonic movie 1 and 2 already had like the same vibe that some of those like well produced fan movies had. Like
Yeah.
it's like I think like the Mega Man fan movie that was like made like I think a decade or so. I watched it on YouTube or some site, and it was like, whoa, this is like really cool. It's like it already had that same vibe, and to be like,
Wouldn't it be cool if there was a Sonic movie, but like that is the movie?
yeah, exactly. But it's like now it's like, okay, we're going into like full like like TV series with Knuckles, probably like anywhere from 6 to 10 episodes, I presume. I don't know if they announced the length.
I think it's
Yeah,
6.
it's just it it doesn't feel real, and like and not in a good or a bad way. It's like completely neutral. Like I'm if the show's good, I'll be happy. We need more good content. I'm not gonna prejudge it based off of its existence now. Um, I kind of trust the development team making these already because the first two movies were solid enough. But like at the same time, this seems just like such an odd tangent to be taking. Like
No, I mean
the avenue with.
I fully agree that there's a surreal factor to the entire Sonic movie universe. Like like I've always loved Sonic, but like there was kind of a decent period of time where it kind of felt like it's all sort of fallen to the wayside of pop culture, which is fine. But like now that like not only is there a Sonic movie that people liked, there's about to be a trilogy of Sonic movies and a spin-off TV show. Like that's not a minor success. Like that's stuff you do with like um, you know, it's really resonated with a huge audience. And like the fact that, dude, the they've got the actor of the Hound from Game of Thrones, and like hearing that guy say Knuckles like breaks my brain.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? They got that guy? Dude, you probably missed it in
Oh,
the because
probably.
you've only seen it once. But there was also it's the first thing I saw before I even saw a trailer. I saw people tweeting about this. They've got Pachacamac the echidna in this, who's like in the flashbacks in Sonic Adventure, he's like the chieftain of the echidna tribe, and he's like the one who kind of like um leads the war-hungry echidnas into getting fucked up by chaos. And he cameos in this, but like he's like working in the bowling. He's like works at the bowling alley. He's got like a Hawaiian shirt or something. It's insane. He's got like a little name tag. It's like, my name is Pachacamac. It's like that random ass 3D model from Sonic Adventure is in like a proper fucking TV show. Like I can't wrap my mind around that.
You know, this whole thing, like and I think part of like this real nature, like it's like you like they have like those like pure like fan service, like bringing things like the hardcore fans will notice. Well, it also like kind of feeling like the most like cynical paint by numbers pop, um, corporate like trailers, like you know like how like a lot of like these like kind of like I don't, it's not necessarily even favorite, but like there's like a lot of like this modern gen. I don't even modern, like probably it's even like it's kind of like dated even at this point, but like this sort of like quippy humor that like I guess in some ways like Marvel really pioneered in a way. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's just like I'm just like listening to some of these jokes like in the trailer. I'm like they're trailer jokes.
Yeah, I get there's since the Sonic movies started happening, there's been this kind of back and forth push and pull between like, yeah, give us all like the delicious stuff from the video games, and then like let's make a product for a mass audience that like everyone is going to understand. Um and like sometimes I think the balance is struck well. Um, like there are aspects about these movies that are very just like them fucking around and doing their own thing that I really appreciate. Um, and I don't think these these movies or these shows need to just be complete fan
Yeah,
service all the time. Like I know that when the Knuckles show first got announced, a lot of people were like, "Ah, maybe this will be about Knuckles hanging out with the
which
Chaotix."
would be pretty
And
dope.
like,
But like
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like I didn't expect it because I feel like there's more to life than seeing your favorite Scrimblows. Like, I think they're allowed to do their own thing with the character in the universe. And I think having Knuckles hang out with this dude is cute. Like, something that I actually really liked about this trailer. Like, I don't know if I'm just like the lowest common denominator movie audience or
I'm
something,
right with you
but
there.
I thought a lot of it was pretty funny. I really liked the whole thing where Knuckles is like setting up like a coliseum in the living room or whatever. And it's like, what are you doing? And um he's like kidnapped a guy, and he's like, I really like that he put like a Viking helmet on the dog, because the thing about it is that like even though he's this epic warrior guy and he's voiced by Idris Elba, like Knuckles isn't really much older than Sonic, and Sonic is like really immature in these films, so it kind of makes sense to me that like there's still putting a Viking helmet on a dog is like there's something pretend and play about it, which I thought was like really interesting. Like that's got nothing to do with the games, but like it's a gag that works based on the movie version of the character, where he's like he is epic, but he's also like, ooh, grapes. I've never had grapes before. Like he's kind of cute at the same. I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like
no,
I'm rambling, but
yeah, I,
okay.
and like that's not to say like I find like any of that stuff like wrong or shouldn't be in there. I just it just adds to just the surreal nature of like these. I guess part of that is like just how much of a tonal whiplash it is from the games. And granted,
Mm,
like even the games are a tonal whiplash within themselves. But like the stuff
100%.
that like is written by Sega, like even like the weirder stuff or like even like Sonic Boom, kind of like all feels cohesive even when it's not. Like there's like a Hollywoodification of the Sonic movie franchise that I don't necessarily think is bad, and I think it does a great
Yeah,
job of bringing people into it. Like, and I think it's some of the Hollywoodification. Like, it manages to do it much better than a lot of other properties.
it's definitely there. It's definitely there, and it's not always a good thing. Like, I mean, I wasn't really a huge fan of like the whole premise of the first movie being like heavily weighted on that end of things, where it's like, lol, like, um, the friends on a road trip or whatever. It's like, okay, like this is not really using the Sonic universe, and it's kind of generic. But like, I think these movies at times do
What
manage to balance it
I
out.
think part of that,
Um,
like, where I think some of the difference with some of the other like modern Hollywood stuff is with Sonic, you can tell it's made by people who love Sonic, but some of that Hollywood stuff is either a cultural thing or they're forced to put in there to make it appease to a general audience. But there's a core there that is this is the people behind this love Sonic, or at least like the directors and the writers.
yeah, or at least enough
Yeah.
of them do that like it shines through. And I never felt like these movies were cynically trying to take advantage of like, see, remember this, like, because I think they hit the important beats with a lot of heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think, which is what I especially with Knuckles in the Sonic 2 movie. Like I guess something that I want to get along to is that this kind of relates back to the Chakamak, but love that character's name. To me, I think they've earned the right to fuck around a little bit, just because like some people are like, I can't believe they put Pachacamac in it, and he's not dead, and he's like, Knuckles isn't lost a kid now. There's a guy who like works at the fucking bowling alley. I like I get people feeling like the lore is maybe disrespected or undermined or something by that, but like they pulled off Knuckles' character arc and character and story better than any of the games did, like in the Sonic 2 movies. So I think they're allowed to be flippant,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, on occasion. Let them
I
have
would
some
say
fun.
like my one caveat to that is that like making a like my like and this is what my main concern. Like I guess it kind of goes into a double concern. Like the kind of like what Marvel kind of showed with the TV series stuff is that like it overly complicated the the phases and the lore and everything that was going on. Like my main kind of
Hmm.
worry here is that either the Knuckles movie is either not going to matter at all, like it's just matter at all to the Sonic franchise, like at least the movies, or it's going to be so, or it's going to be important enough where you're going to be missing out on stuff in the third movie if you don't watch it. And I don't think neither of them are necessarily good places because like the majority. I mean, I feel like the majority.
Yeah, you want like kind
Yeah.
of a middle ground, right? Where like it's not required viewing to understand Sonic Movie 3, but like it could add a little something to it. I'm leaning on this doesn't really have anything to do with movie 3, just cuz like I mean Sonic 3 is going to be basically a Sonic Adventure 2
Yeah.
adaptation as far as I can tell, or something like that. Um and I don't know how Knuckles fucking around with Wade is gonna have like any relation. But I mean, I guess there's the Hound from Game of Thrones is an ex Eggman
Well,
employee, so
well, the
maybe there'll be something tying into the Robotnik
Well, it's like
legacy
it's
with
the way like,
Gerald.
if it
But
was
like,
like a 30-minute special or just like a 1 hour special, just like a one like, hey, cool, we got Knuckles like having a fun time. It's like I think Knuckles fucking around for like 30 minutes to an hour. I think is that's fine enough. But it's the fact that they're gonna have 6 episodes and they're gonna need to feel that time.
that is quite a
Like
lot of
yeah,
show.
so
Now that you mention it,
even if I don't know if we're gonna be 30-minute episodes or 1 hour episodes, but like even like just like from like some of the Marvel, like especially some of the not as good Marvel TV series, is like they spend so much time doing nothing, and like in the show, like
no, I get what you mean. It's frustrating when like, because it's like you're expected to keep up with this vast interconnected universe, but half the time like it's just spinning its wheels, and it's like, well, like, why did you make me watch 8 shows? I feel like I'm not too worried about that with Knuckles, just because like this is the there's three
Yeah.
movies and one show, so like to keep up with in general, like it's not that big of an
It
ask. And I feel like this is gonna be mostly
yeah.
ancillary,
It
but
and
like we'll
it's
see.
like
I've
and
got no
granted,
idea.
like it's not that big of a deal. Like the Sonic franchise is some small enough scale as it is. Um, and it's sort of it's sort of this weird economy. It's like if the Knuckles show doesn't perform well, they're not going to do this venture again. If it performs well, they'll likely make a Tails show, a Shadow show, like they'll probably make more shows with some of the other characters if it does well.
You know, I've never even considered that, but like it's not impossible. I guess I've just assumed this whole time that Sonic 3 was going to be the last one. And like it seems like it would make sense to like escalate the Sonic to like Sonic Adventure 2 and then like kind of leave it there. But like if it if they make a shit ton of money on Sonic 3 and the show does well, then like I guess it would be leaving money on
Yeah.
the table to not make more. I just like I don't know, for some reason like I was surprised that we even got a sequel, let alone
Well,
two sequels. So like maybe there is a universe in which like we get like the fucking um
yeah. Well,
Tom
the weird
spin-off or
thing is
some
like
shit.
the first two Sonic movies are kind of so disconnected from the games. Like they're not really adaptations of the games. They just take elements from the games and tell their own story with it. Um, like I don't know how I feel about viewing Sonic 3 as an adaptation of uh as an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, as more of taking elements of Sonic Adventure 2 and making its own plot of that. And then building
Yeah,
from
fair.
that, it's like if they're already doing their own thing with this series, there's no real rules they have to follow other than like whatever Sega tells them to do. So it's like theoretically after Adventure, like I could easily see them taking a break after the third movie. Like they do the third movie, maybe they do a few more TV shows. A few years later, they might like announce, oh, Sonic movie 4, which might be a Heroes adaptation or a Colors adaptation, or I say adaptation, but like loosely taking elements. Or
Yeah,
heck, if
yeah.
Sonic Adventure 3 is announced and released by then, they might like line that up with like, oh, this is actually going to be the Sonic Adventure 3 adaptation thing.
That
But
would be fucking crazy.
yeah,
Um yeah, I guess they could just make more stuff. I mean, you kind of have a point that like yeah, these movies aren't necessarily hardcore adaptations. I think that Sonic 2 is a pretty it it does adapt Sonic and Tails meeting in a way kind of.
I,
It's more of an adaptation of if it's an adaptation of anything, it's
yeah.
the whole Knuckles arc in
Well,
Sonic 3.
well,
Like
but see that's
Sonic
the
2
thing.
was
It was
really
like
Sonic 3 the game.
it stayed true. Like it stayed
It's an
true to
amalgamation.
like the character arcs of 2 and 3, sort of. But like in the like
Yeah, and it's got the big
yeah,
Death Egg
but like
robot as well, which is very Sonic
but
2, but like amped up to
the,
11.
the crazy thing for me with all these Sonic movies, like well, I say all, but there's like two, is that it's kind of like taking those games and putting them in the framework of a Hollywood uh, animal buddy flick,
Mm.
like well, or mascot buddy flick. Oh no,
Well, they do a pretty good job of it.
no,
I know
think
we're
no,
kind
I
of
think
getting
I
outside
think
of
the
the
reason why
point
they
here,
do
but
so well
like
is because they aren't faithful to like they aren't just adaptations of the games. Like I think if they try like having the freedom to make it mold it into a Hollywood movie is largely what led it to be successful. Um,
it's an interesting combination that seems to resonate. I just wanted to say with the whole adaptation thing is that like I do feel like if you're going to adapt Shadow and then like from the casting list, seemingly like Rouge and Maria and stuff like that, it's like there's so much happening in that game that like even if you change quite a lot of it, you're still gonna have to dedicate a lot of the screen time to like
yeah.
those
So
similar kind of beats. I feel like I think that Sonic 3 will be the closest
I
to a
can
game
definitely
plot,
see them going
out of
up
any
to
of these
like the moon,
movies.
like the big like the Death Egg being like the climax. Yeah, I can definitely see
They've
the
got
arc.
through the arc, right?
I believe the arc can be the the climax. I don't necessarily see the movie going the direction where it starts off with Sonic and Crew as fugitives, in the same degree.
Oh yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
Sonic is friends with cops in this, so like it would be. Imagine the tragedy if
yeah.
fucking Tom's chasing him down. I don't know. I mean, I like, yeah, it'll be loose, but like, I think Shadow's backstory,
Yeah, and
Maria,
I
the
think
arc, like I feel like all that stuff has got to be in there. It seems like key to the story, and I think there'll be a lot of at least like
yep.
visual callbacks to stuff from Adventure Two.
And I think that's the thing. Like, I don't know if
Yeah,
like I would say it's probably be like the Sonic movie franchise's version of Sonic Adventure 2, but I don't necessarily think I'd call it an adaptation. Like similar.
Hmm. I guess we'll see. I was just getting the vibes from like when they showed off the title recently. It's got like orchestral live and learn, and the logo is very Sonic Adventure 2. But like it makes sense that like they, like obviously they're
And
using that as a starting point.
yeah,
But we'll see how divergent it is. It doesn't come out until
like
fucking December.
and
So like
honest
who
to God,
knows
I
what's
would
actually
rather them just
happening.
do their own thing rather than just like try to be too faithful to the game, anyways. Um,
Yeah, if they can adapt the
yeah,
broad
yeah,
strokes,
yeah, yeah.
like we should probably wrap this up since we're not even talking about Knuckles anymore. But I'll just say like the main thing I want them to get right with movie 3 is the kind of like sort of ridiculously over the top anime sincerity of Adventure Two's melodrama. Like if they can, because I think like that's probably the one thing the Sonic, the note that the Sonic movies haven't really hit yet to me, like that ridiculous fucking like kind of edgy but still sort of works with the animal characters thing. Um, so if Adventure Two can if Sonic Movie 3 can feel like Adventure 2
Yeah,
in the right
I could
ways,
second
I'll be
that.
happy.
But and I hold out a little bit of hope because I do see the game, the characters sort of maturing a bit with each, like with both between one and two. Like
Mm.
one, Sonic is very much like kind of like goofy, immature kid, and then like two, he's taking on more responsibility, and that his character arc goes into like, oh, he goes Super Sonic, and it does have some of that anime goofiness at the end. Like like
Mm. Just lean in even harder. Risk alienating
it's
the
like what I
masses and killing the
here's
franchise.
what I actually like. What
Do it.
I kind of see Sonic 3. Well, taking the broad strokes of the idea of like, oh, there's this fake Sonic going around. Like maybe not necessarily the cops are going after him, but I can definitely see a like I don't want to spoil like the Spider-Man movies, but like that idea of like maybe like there it goes more of like a fake news sort of route of like, oh, Sonic's like people are saying, oh, Sonic's doing bad things, and like he becomes socially ostracized from that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I could see that like
Yeah, there's a lot you can do that like is still like
yeah.
pretty much an
I guess
adaptation of Adventure.
I take
Adventure 2.
but I guess when I think of adaptation, I think you're taking the plot and you're making it work within a constraint rather than change it. But I guess in some way,
They'll have to change. They'll have to like um simplify a few
yeah.
things. I mean, like that game is quite convoluted, and especially if anything from like the Shadow the Hedgehog game is making into here, then like there's probably going to
I'm
be a
just
lot of
imagining that like if they release like
restructuring
a
and
Shadow the
editing and stuff.
Hedgehog
And
TV series after this, like that is like the broad strokes of that game. I mean,
I mean,
I
like it
honestly I think that'd be
wouldn't
amazing.
be.
Don't get me wrong,
I
but
mean,
like it's just
well, like the movie universe is already very interstellar, so like getting getting like the Black Arms
yeah.
aliens in there, like I don't know,
Yeah,
would
I
work.
think just my overall like that would just go back to like bring it back to Knuckles. I think my overall worry for the Knuckles show is going to be its pacing. I think these types of TV series that are adaptations, like all that branch off from movies, are very hard to get the pacing right, especially because
I can see it
well,
being
it
painfully
seems like
slow and
I feel
nothing
like,
happening for sure.
and this is what my feelings for like Marvel comment is that like you have like this franchise that you expect that has like these beats like the movies have their beats of like this, and then when your only expectation are these movie beats. Like, I think Loki works because Loki feels like a set of like each episode feels like a mini movie. Like a lot happens in each episode. But like there's a lot going on in that plot too. Like there's a lot to happen. I'd say like WandaVision, they made a lot of the episodes just shorter and like experimental. So like nothing feels like it's going on for too long. But there's a lot of those Marvel stuff I feel like would have just been better as a movie rather than a TV series.
Yeah, I mean, this Knuckles stuff seems also like quite like loosely plotted. Like it seems like it probably is just a kind of fucking around show. So yeah, I can see
Yeah.
it feeling like why didn't you make this a movie or 2 episodes or whatever. But I will say, just to close off, there's no fucking way it can be paced
Oh
worse
god,
than Sonic Prime.
I still need to watch
Season
season 2.
3.
Dear god.
There's just no way in hell. No, you don't. The like we can make the
Wow,
Brett fucking made Sonic Prime
I finished season
episode
1
another
with
time.
very good like impression of it. Um,
I was a bit mixed on season 1.
like I was mixed, but like
optimistic.
it left off
I
on a note
really
where I
liked
was
aspects
like,
of it.
I look forward to see what happens next, and I just never got around to finishing it.
I
Okay,
think
well,
it
this is
gets
definitely,
worse and
like-
worse. By the end, I felt like, why the fuck
We'll
did I
have to
watch
talk
that?
about that like maybe
But
like
maybe
when
I'm
we're
a
playing a
jaded old
Sonic
man,
game or
who
something.
knows?
Like we'll make an episode out of that. Like we'll find some.
Sure.
I need to play Sonic.
If
yeah,
you want
I
me
need to play
upset,
Sonic
then we
Origins
can
at
do
some
that.
point, anyways.
But thanks
yes.
for
Anyways, you wanted to close out?
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Let us know what you think about the Knuckles trailer. And we'll catch you next time there's something to talk about. We are living in a never-ending cycle of Sonic news. Every fucking day, there's more. All right, bye. That's the one. That's what I was looking for.
It's never
Smash
ending.
cut to Endless Possibility. Music fade out. The possibilities are never ending.